Welcome to Information on Needles and Changing a Needle on the Ansley 26 Long Arm Quilting Machine. Presented by Tin Lizzie, your affordable long arm quilters. Elegant, sophisticated, precise. The newest member of the Tin Lizzie family, Ansley 26. The Ansley 26 long arm quilting machine will have you experiencing long arm quilting on a whole new level. This machine allows quilters total freedom with options galore. All you have to do is think it, touch it, quilt it. Part of the maintenance and use of your Ansley 26 long arm quilting machine is replacing the needle when necessary. The needle takes the brunt of the work during the quilting process. If you think about it, it is an engineering marvel, such a small piece of metal that must go in and out of the fabric thousands upon thousands of times and create a quality stitch each time. There is a lot of information on the package of the needle. Pay attention when purchasing needles to get the correct needle for your machine. Of course, your dealer will also guide you in purchasing the needles for your Ansley 26 long arm quilting machine. Needles come in single packages and may be purchased in bulk. Always purchase plenty of needles so you'll be sure to have them on hand when you need them. There is a sticker right on the machine directly across from the tension assembly that will remind you about the kind of needle that you need for your Ansley 26. It's a 134 SAN 11. Now what does that exactly mean? Let's take a look at the needle package and learn the meaning of all those numbers. Your new Ansley 26 came with a SAN 11 size 18 needle loaded on the machine. Always use the needle recommended for the machine. There are different size needles. The larger the number, the larger the needle diameter. The SAN 11 has extreme stability for less deflection, less breakage, fewer skip stitches, and minimal thread breakage. The needles have a titanium nitride coating, which provides protection to the needle from wear, tear, and damage, and also provides a longer working time for the needle, meaning more quilts may be done with a single needle. The 134 is the needle system for a particular machine. The MR on the package stands for multi-range and makes the needle sew well in the multi-directional sewing done on a long arm quilting machine, whether free motion or in robotic mode. The needle size is in the upper right hand corner. There are two numbers, 110/18. The 110 is the European sizing, which stands for the diameter of the shaft being 110 millimeters, and the 18 is the American equivalent of the European needle sizing. A size 100 is 100 millimeters in diameter, a 90 is 90 millimeters in diameter, and so on. As the needle penetrates the fabric, creating a stitch, a hole is created to carry the thread through the fabric and back out again. The diameter or size of the needle directly corresponds to the size of the hole. Needles come in different needle point styles designated by letters. For this particular needle point style, FFG SES means titanium coated light ballpoint, which is suitable for woven fabrics. The long number in the lower left is the production number for the factory. Now let's take a look at the parts of the quilting machine needle. Each part is important in stitch formation. There are important parts to learn on a machine needle. This is a SAN 11 size 18 needle, the needle recommended for the Ansley 26. The very top of the needle is called the butt. The butt needs to be seated all the way up against the needle bar when inserting a new needle. The shank is the part of the needle that slides up into the needle bar and then is secured by a screw on the needle bar collar to hold the needle in place for stitching. The shank on the needle for a long arm quilting machine is round. It doesn't have a flat side to it like a standard home sewing machine needle. There is also information stamped on the shank for needle identification. The shoulder of the needle is between the shank and the blade. The blade, more commonly referred to as the shaft of the needle, has a groove on the front to carry the thread through the fabric. The diameter of the shaft is what determines the needle size. On the back of the shaft is the scarf. The scarf plays a critical role in the formation of a stitch. The hook catches the thread loop and interlocks it with the bobbin thread to form a stitch. From the groove, the thread is carried through the eye of the needle. The larger the needle, the eye is larger as well. The point and tip of the needle penetrate the fibers of the fabric to form a stitch. The letters on the front of the needle package refer to the type of point the needle has. Now let's take a look at how to safely change the needle on your Ansley 26 long arm quilting machine. The first thing to do is turn off the machine. Remove the bobbin case from the hook assembly. Remove the thread from the needle and eyelet above the needle. Take the new needle, make sure the groove of the needle is facing forward, and push the butt of the needle up into the collar of the needle bar. You want to make sure that the shank is seated all the way in the needle bar. Take the screwdriver and turn the screw to the right to tighten down the collar to the needle. Here's a tip. Use the old needle to hold the new needle in place securely while securing the screw. Double check that the needle faces forward, the groove to the front, the scarf to the back. It should not be twisted this way, or even slightly to the side. The needle needs to face straight on to form proper stitches. Before turning on the machine and beginning to stitch, there is one last thing to do. Be sure the hopper foot is lowered, then turn the hand wheel counterclockwise a couple of times to make sure the needle is seated properly. As you turn the hand wheel, the needle will move up and down as it will when stitching. This little step will ensure the needle is inserted correctly and is clearing the hole in the throat plate and hook assembly. The needle should not be hitting anything. If it is, throw that needle away because now it is damaged. Get a new needle and repeat the steps. After checking, lower the needle all the way down into the throat plate. After you've lowered the needle into the throat plate, move around to the front of the machine and check to be sure that you can see the eye of the needle in the hook assembly. After double checking everything, raise the needle to the highest point and you're ready to begin stitching once again. Sometimes little tips help make things go more smoothly. As simple as it is to insert a new needle, sometimes there are things that can happen. Does this ever happen to you? The needle slips out of your fingers and down through the hole in the throat plate into the hook assembly. Just push on the needle tip and push the needle up through the needle plate hole and grab it with tweezers or your fingers. To prevent that from happening in the first place, place a scrap of fabric or an index card over the throat plate hole and problem solved. Here's another tip. Use an old pill container to hold discarded needles. It protects everyone from injury. Thank you for viewing this video by Tin Lizzie, your affordable long arm quilters.